My name's Steve, and this is Classified Capture. Predictions, aliens, ghosts, astral projection, you name it, we got it on this episode. So now, why don't we get to the first clip? A witness was spending time by the ocean, casually watching the waves roll in and out, when something unexpected caught their eye. At first, it looked like a shape rising from the water, but the longer you stare at it, the harder it becomes to ignore what it resembles. It appears to be water formed in the shape of a person. The figure looks unmistakably humanoid. You can make out a torso, which seems to be arms, and even a head that appears slightly separated from the body. All of it is made entirely of water, hovering just above the surface. It's unsettling in a quiet, hard-to-explain way. Let's move in closer. Try looking at this and honestly saying it doesn't resemble a human form. People who've seen this footage are split. Some believe it could be a water spirit or some kind of elemental presence. Others insist it's nothing more than an unusual wave pattern. Whatever the explanation may be, the image leaves one lingering question. What exactly are we looking at? A woman was alone in her room when something unusual caught her attention. The TV was turned off, its black screen acting like a mirror reflecting the room back at her. As she steps closer, her reflection appears clearly on the right side of the screen. At first, everything seems normal. Then another shape comes into view. Near the doorway, the reflection appears to show a figure dressed in white, standing just behind her. What makes it unsettling is what happens next. When she pans the camera toward the doorway, there's no one there. The space is completely empty, exactly as it should be, and yet the reflection showed something that shouldn't exist. That leaves a quiet but disturbing question. What was really appearing in the screen?
What the fuck is that? Like, this is me.
A man was inside a federal building making his way up the spiral staircase when strange sounds echoed from below. The noise stopped him cold. Curious but uneasy, he leaned over the railing and looked down into the winding stairwell. The staircase stretched far beneath him. At first it looked like someone was walking upward, but after a moment he realized something wasn't right. The figure below was moving in a way that didn't feel human. Without warning, the dark shape shot up the staircase toward him, racing upward at an unnatural speed. He didn't hesitate. The man turned and ran for the upper floor, not stopping to see what was chasing him. What makes this even more disturbing is what came out later. Workers in the building have openly said they believe the place is haunted. They claim there's some kind of presence there, an entity of sorts, though no one can say exactly what. A woman bought a used iPhone from an online marketplace for her daughter, hoping to save some money. At first, everything seemed fine. The phone arrived, they charged it, and the daughter began exploring it. But that's when things took an unsettling turn. While scrolling through the gallery, they came across a photograph that had already been saved on the device. It wasn't a normal picture. It looked like an autopsy photograph, and the image was deeply disturbing. They tried to delete it, but it would not disappear. No matter what they did, the photograph kept reappearing in the gallery. Even after restarting the phone, it was still there. They even switched service providers, thinking it might be some kind of syncing issue, yet the image remained. Online people offered different explanations. Some suggested it was a glitch, others believed the phone could still be linked to the previous owner's cloud account. And then there are those who wondered if it was something far darker, possibly tied to a crime scene. What made the situation even more unsettling was the simple fact that the image refused to go away. We're tempted to lean into the paranormal, but any tech whiz out there can educate us? This next piece of footage comes from a still image captured by a security camera inside a living room. At the moment this image was taken, the grandfather was still alive, sitting there in the room. You can see him seated with the help of a walker. Everything appears normal at first, but if you look closely to the left side of the image near the couch, something else stands out. A dark figure appears to be standing there, partially hidden in the shadows. According to the family, not long after this image was captured, the grandfather passed away. When they later went back through the security footage to revisit some of his final moments, that figure caught their attention. Within the paranormal community, many believe that when someone is close to death, an entity may appear. Some say it could be the spirit of a loved one who's already passed. The family, however, say the figure does not resemble anyone they recognize, nor anyone who'd previously died. Because of that, others have speculated it could be something far more ominous, possibly even the Grim Reaper itself. So when you look at this image, what do you think we're really seeing? This footage comes from the dash cam of a woman driving alone around 4 a.m. in a remote part of Northern California. At first, everything seems normal. The road was quiet, the night calm. But as she reached a certain stretch, a strange unease crept over her. She couldn't explain it, but something just felt wrong. Then she saw why. On the right side of the road stood a humanoid figure, but nothing about it made sense. The area was isolated, the woods dense behind the figure, no other cars were nearby, no houses, no reason for anyone to be out there at that hour. A wave of fear hit her suddenly. Goosebumps ran down her arms, yet she couldn't bring herself to slow down or stop. She just kept driving, speeding all the way home. Encounters like this are not unheard of. People have reported seeing figures on lonely roads that don't seem human at all. Most would agree she made the right choice by keeping her distance. Whatever it was approaching could have been dangerous. But then again, what if it was someone stranded, someone in need of help? The question lingers. But what would you have done if you were behind the wheel? On New Year's Eve, there's a long-standing tradition across much of the Western world. People leave their homes, gather in parks, gardens, and public spaces, count down together, and watch fireworks light up the sky as the new year begins. Heading into 2025, information began circling that there would be a massive fireworks show. Word spread quickly. Thousands of people packed up and made their way toward the Brooklyn Bridge and the surrounding parks. The areas filled fast. Even the bridge itself became crowded, people standing shoulder to shoulder, all waiting for the countdown and the moment the lights would begin. Then midnight arrived, but nothing happened. There was no fireworks show, no light display, nothing at all. It was later revealed that the entire event had been a hoax, an AI-generated deception that convinced people to leave their homes and gather for something that never existed. Just look at how many people showed up. An instance like this only seemed to reinforce a growing fear surrounding artificial intelligence and technological deception. How easily large crowds can be influenced, how quickly people can be led to believe. Some have even suggested this might not be a prank at all, but a test. Well, that leaves one uncomfortable thought hanging in the air. How does something like this make you feel?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year! Any second now. Where are they? Did we get pranked? We got pranked. I mean, the amount of people who are misinformed here.
What does this say about 2026?
It's not off to a good start.
Recently, reports have been circulating about a university shooter identified as having ties to the Brown University School of Engineering. According to these reports, 2 students were killed. Just 2 days later, the same individual was allegedly linked to the shooting of a fusion scientist from MIT. Not long after that, the shooter was found dead in what was described as self-exit. Soon after, another detail caught people's attention. Authorities reportedly said they were able to locate him based on tips shared by a homeless woman on Reddit. That claim alone raised eyebrows among those closely following the story. Then the conversation took another turn. News began spreading that Trump was involved in a major merger with a fusion startup called TAE Technologies, with reports mentioning roughly $300 million were tied to the investment. That's when people started connecting the dots. A school shooter allegedly kills a fusion scientist. The shooter later turns up dead. Shortly after, a massive merger involving fusion technology makes headlines. Then another detail surfaces. Reports claim the shooter and the scientist had known each other during their university years. The timing feels almost too precise. To some, it looks like coincidence after coincidence stacked uncomfortably close together. Others feel there may be more beneath the surface. And that leaves a lingering question. Is this simply chance unfolding in a disturbing pattern, or is there something deeper hidden in plain sight? Would anything surprise you when it came from the top 1%? Wouldn't surprise me. All the time we hear about Bigfoot sightings. Bigfoot this, Bigfoot that. The name itself has become almost generic, like the creature exists as one single thing. But what's interesting is that most of the time Bigfoot is spoken about without a gender. The only time people start assigning gender is when there's a smaller figure nearby. Then the assumption becomes it's a mother with a child. But recently, I made a discovery that honestly surprised me. I cannot believe it took this long for it to click. There's a very famous piece of footage that's been circulating for decades, often referred to as the strongest visual evidence of Bigfoot. The Patterson-Gimlin film has been analyzed, debated, and dissected endlessly, yet somehow one detail is rarely discussed openly. If you take a closer look at the creature in the footage, there's a noticeable feature on the chest area. It's subtle, but it is there. Automatically, this trait is typically associated with female mammals. Those are breasts. Did anyone ever consider that this might actually be a female Bigfoot, or am I the only one just now seeing it this way? Human beings can be very strange sometimes. A woman recently took to TikTok to share an experience she had, not exactly an incident, but something that happened after a medical procedure. She explained that she had surgery where some of her ribs were removed. After the operation, she asked the doctor if she could keep the ribs for preservation. The ribs were soaked in formaldehyde and given to her. When she got home, she noticed that there was still fresh flesh attached to the bones, so she decided to remove it by cooking the ribs, since the flesh would rot. While doing this, she said intrusive thoughts started creeping in and she tasted a small piece of her own flesh. Just, why? She decided to consume her own flesh. This was tissue that had been soaked in chemicals that are not safe for consumption, yet curiosity, impulse, or something else entirely pushed it across that line.
When I was in high school, I had to get my rib removed for this rare, blood syndrome thing. And so when I got it removed, I asked for it back after the surgery. And for some reason, they just agreed to give it back to me. And they gave it back in this little vial filled with liquid. And there was still, meat on it, muscle. And so when I got home, I had to get all the muscle off so it would stay, preserved and wouldn't, rot. And so I boiled it in this pot. And then at the end, I had a rib with cooked meat on it. And I tried some of it. I ate some of it. So I have eaten some of my own human flesh. And I think that's pretty cool. And I don't think it's that weird, honestly. Yeah. I think it's pretty exciting. It didn't taste good, by the way. It tasted very bad. Probably because it was soaking in some, formaldehyde for a while. I don't know.
2025 has been a very chaotic year for the United States so far. One thing happens, and before people can process it, another follows. We've seen public figures like Peter Thiel openly discussing ideas around the Antichrist, while conversations about living longer, mass surveillance, and advanced research raise questions. Some people believe these efforts are not really about health or safety, but about preparing for something much bigger, something unknown. Area 51 has returned to the spotlight again, this time not just because of UFOs, but because some believe the UFO narrative itself is a distraction. According to these theories, the real focus is on secret weapons programs and technology that the public is not meant to know about yet. Even pop culture has not been left out. Taylor Swift has been pulled into Illuminati claims, with people pointing to her fame, symbols in her performances, and global influence as signs of hidden control systems operating through entertainment. Older conspiracies have also resurfaced. Claims about the 2020 election, theories that COVID was intentionally harmful, and renewed fears surrounding Project Bluebeam have all come back into online discussions. Drone footage, strange lights in the sky, and unusual aerial events have fueled worries that staged events could be used to push the idea of a one-world government. Other theories continue to circulate daily: chemtrails and government weather modification, alleged cover-ups surrounding the Epstein files, claims that President Biden is a clone or a body double. Even the Charlie Kirk assassination has been tied by some to a deep state plot. Okay. Well, let's see what the new year has in store. A woman was taking a picture of her two daughters in their living room, just a normal moment, nothing out of the ordinary. But when they later looked at the photograph, something immediately stood out. Standing behind the girl in the red dress was a strange figure. The figure looks humanoid but very hazy. You can clearly make out her head and shoulders, but the rest of the body is obscured, almost blending into the background. It doesn't look like a reflection or a shadow, and no one else was in the room at the time the photograph was taken. According to the family, this same daughter has been experiencing unusual things for a while. She's spoken about strange feelings, unexplained sounds, and moments where she feels watched. Because of that history, the family believes this image may have been connected to whatever has been following or attaching itself to her. Some people say this could be pareidolia or a camera artifact, while others believe it could be a spirit or entity showing itself briefly. If this is real, it raises a disturbing question. Is this just a coincidence caught on camera, or proof that something has been lingering around this child for some time? Someone was walking home late at night when they noticed something strange on the side of the road. By a gutter, there was a large hole dug in the ground. At first, it looked like some kind of construction site, but there were no signs, no equipment, and no workers around. As they got closer, they noticed movement. Things were sliding down into the gutter, disappearing into the darkness of the hole. When the person zoomed in, it became even more unsettling. These were not adults. From what we can tell, the figures looked small, humanoid, and child-sized. We never get a clear look at the faces, which makes it harder to understand what's really happening. All we see are small figures entering a hall one by one, calmly as if they know exactly where they're going. Because there's no context to the footage, people have started speculating. Some believe these could be homeless children living in underground tunnel systems, something that does exist in certain cities. Others think this could be something far more disturbing, possibly linked to urban legends about underground communities or things that are not meant to be seen at night. Without more information, it's impossible to say what we're really looking at, but the idea of childlike figures disappearing into a hole in the road raises one uncomfortable question. Is this something ordinary that we're misunderstanding, or something hidden right beneath our streets that we're never meant to notice? A couple shared a strange encounter they had one night while driving home. As they passed by a church, they suddenly heard a loud bump. At first, they thought they had hit something in the road, But when the car started pulling to one side, they realized the tire had burst. They pulled over and got out to check the damage, and that's when things got strange. The tire was not just flat, it had been punctured by something sharp. Stuck in the rubber was an object that looked like a bone or possibly a tooth. There was no sign of debris on the road and nothing nearby that could explain how it got there. The next day, they shared photographs online and people immediately started speculating. Some thought it was an animal bone kicked up by another vehicle. Others believe it looked more like a tooth, which raised even more questions. Curious, the couple went back to the same spot to investigate further, hoping to find the source, and that's when they found this object. It was larger than a human thumb and much wider. If it were a bone, well, one could clearly identify what animal it came from. If it were a tooth, then it would have had to belong to something far larger than any common animal in the area. That's where the mystery deepens. Was this just an unusual piece of animal remains, or was it something else entirely that happened to cross their path that night near the church? And if it were a tooth, well, what kind of creature would be capable of leaving something like that behind? Every year, Peruvian shamans gather along the beaches of Lima to perform ritual ceremonies. These rituals are meant to honor their gods, seek balance, and make predictions about the coming year, what may bring. It's a tradition that has gone on for decades and always draws attention when its forecasts touch on global events. This time, some of the predictions have sparked a lot of discussion. One of the most talked about claims is that President Trump would face a serious illness within a year. Another prediction suggests that, with Trump's involvement, the current Venezuelan president would be removed from power. Alongside this, they also spoke about major political shifts, instability, and potential conflicts unfolding across different regions of the world. During the ceremonies, they are seen praying deeply and offering sacrifices, not to encourage these events, but to calm their gods and prevent large-scale destruction and war. The rituals are meant to influence outcomes and reduce harm rather than simply predict it. Now, all that remains is to see how 2026 unfolds, whether these predictions come true or not. Well, they raise questions about belief, traditions, and why these ancient rituals continue to intersect with modern global politics. Are these symbols, interpretations, coincidences, or something more? I guess only time will tell.
Well, interesting, huh? Since that was written, President Trump has already taken out Venezuela's president, so I wonder whether he's gonna get an illness next.
If the stories are coming from Appalachia, well, you already know they're going to be unsettling. A couple decided to take a break and spend some more time at their cabin deep in the Appalachian Mountains. One night, while they were fast asleep, they were suddenly woken up by strange growling sounds coming from outside. The noise was close enough to make them uneasy, so they got up and checked the balcony, the shed, and the surrounding area, trying to figure out where it was coming from. They found nothing. Eventually, they went back inside and locked everything before returning to bed. The next morning, something didn't add up. When they woke, the woman noticed that the balcony door was wide open. According to both of them, that door had been locked the night before, along with every other entry point in the cabin. There was no sign of forced entry, no damage, just an open door. Now, anyone familiar with the Appalachian folklore knows about one of the most talked about creatures from that region, the skinwalker. Skinwalkers are said to be entities that mimic sounds, including growls, voices, or animals, to lure people outside or trick them into opening their doors. In many stories, simply responding to the sounds or going out to investigate is believed to be an invitation. Some believe that when the couple went outside that night searching for the source of the noise, they unknowingly invited something in. And the most unsettling part is not the open door, it's the question that comes after. If something did get inside, well, where is it now?
¡Ay! Uy. ¿Escuchaste?
Dentro del jacuzzi, ¿no?
No sé. ¿Qué hay ahí? Sí.
This woman took a video of something she believes is coming out of the corner of her eye. According to her, she'd been feeling movement in her eye for weeks, like something was crawling around in there, and finally, whatever it was seemed to come out. In the footage, you can see a long white string slowly being pulled from her eye. Now, she insists this isn't normal eye mucus. It doesn't break apart as liquid would. It stays intact, it looks solid, it looks attached, and it's much longer than anything that you'd expect to come from an eye. As she pulls it out, she starts to panic, and honestly, it's hard not to, because, well, it looks disturbingly similar to parasites you usually see removed from animals, except this time it's coming from a human eye. The big question is, how is this even possible? Parasites can live in places you'd never expect, and sometimes they go unnoticed for weeks or even months, but at the same time, some people are saying this could be a rare medical condition or some kind of biological buildup rather than a living organism. So what are we actually looking at here? Is it a parasite, or is there another explanation entirely?
I have felt something moving in my eye for weeks, and I think it's finally coming out. I'm shaking.
I went to Antarctica. I found out all kinds of stuff, and it's really interesting because some of the stuff that I've seen, there's actually been news about it recently.
She said she went to Antarctica, but not physically, through remote viewing. And we've talked a lot about remote viewing before, where people claim to leave their bodies and travel to different locations while their physical body stays behind. According to her, during this experience, she ended up in Antarctica and discovered massive underground facilities, and what she claims to have seen there was disturbing. She said human souls were being harvested from their original bodies and transferred into pre-engineered bodies, artificial bodies. She explained that during this process, the soul is stripped of its humanity. What's left behind is something operating on very low vibrational energy, depression, fear, anxiety, sadness, a constant sense of emptiness. And that's when it started to make sense to her. She believes there are people that we see every day, people with a puppet-like mindset, easily controlled, emotionally numb, almost zombie-like. According to her, their original spirit has been wiped and replaced with something else entirely. She said everything was revealed to her during this remote viewing session, and a final comment was almost unsettling. She joked that if people really knew what was going on, they'd be lining up buying tickets just to learn how to remote view for themselves.
Imagine a operating table, and you put someone on the operating table, strap them down, and there's a technology that is essentially removing the soul from the body, the life force, and they're putting it in new clones. You know when you go to the bank in those tubes? This is the best way I can explain it. I saw all these big incubators where they're creating life forms. They're in stasis.
A mother's love for her child is one of the strongest forces there is, and some believe that love doesn't even stop at death. This is how a woman is said to have saved a 14-month-old baby from the afterlife. A woman named Jennifer was driving through Utah with a 14-month-old daughter, Lily. The vehicle veered off the road and crashed into the water, flipping upside down. More than 10 hours later, police arrived in the area, and that's when something unsettling happened. Officers reported hearing a woman screaming for help. The cries were urgent. "Help me. Save me." The sound was clear enough that it was captured on body cam audio. Police rushed to the vehicle, turned it over, and pulled the occupants out, and when they did, they realized that Jennifer was dead. Investigators believe she likely died on impact or shortly after the crash, but her baby was still alive. Lily was rushed to the hospital and treated for hypothermia, and she survived. Officers say the voice they heard was clearly that of a woman. Though the audio is faint, police confirmed they heard calls for rescue coming from the vehicle. There was no one else around. The only explanation some believe is that the mother's spirit stayed behind, calling out for help to save her child before crossing over. Even investigators admitted that they could not fully explain the audio. You can hear the voice in the footage. So what do you think? Was it a desperate final echo, or a mother refusing to leave until her baby was safe?
Eric, get over here, Beddoes. We're helping, we're coming. Eric, get over here, Beddoes. We're helping, we're coming.
While you ponder over that, watch this footage and tell me what you think is going on. I've watched it several times, but I still can't figure it out. This is from a security camera set up outside someone's home, but it seems to be pointing toward the other house nearby. You can see an orb descending from the sky onto one of the houses, and just as it vanishes, the lights in that house suddenly come on. Then the orb reappears, floating back up into the sky, and as it does, the lights turn off again. It happens a second time, but this time when the orb goes back up, a larger orb appears and suddenly bolts of lightning light up the whole area before the orb vanishes completely. What in the world just happened? While you share your thoughts on that, what do you think of weather manipulation? Do you think it's a stupid idea, or do you think governments are already at it? Well, there are some who believe many of the things we're experiencing with regard to our weather are not as random as we think. With the onset of Hurricane Helene and the damage it has left in its path, especially in North Carolina, these talks have started again. Lives have been lost and damage costs have gone up by the billions. While it may seem easy to dismiss this as nature being nature, members of the paranormal community believe this was planned. Take these floodwaters for instance. On a normal day, nobody would think anything of it, but some of the members of the community with a background in science think it looks eerily familiar. To them, the shape of the waves look like what magnetic fluid looks like when exposed to a magnet. But could water be manipulated like that? Well, they seem to think so. They believe HARP could be at the center. If you aren't familiar with the project, HARP, the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, is a research project originally funded by the U.S. Air Force, Navy, and the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, or DARPA for short, primarily for studying the ionosphere. The ionosphere is a part of Earth's upper atmosphere that plays a crucial role in radio wave propagation, which has implications for communication and navigation systems. HARP uses powerful high-frequency radio transmitters to heat localized areas of the ionosphere, allowing researchers to study its response. The primary goal of the project was to understand and potentially improve radio communications, surveillance, and missile detection capabilities. Over time, HARP has become the subject of numerous conspiracy theories, with some people claiming it was used for weather manipulation, mind control, or even as a weapon to cause natural disasters like earthquakes and hurricanes. This is due to how the waves of the project work, by heating portions of the ionosphere. It is theoretically possible, according to those in the community, to create the disasters we mentioned. There's also the bit of the vast lithium deposits locked up in the ground beneath North Carolina. That too has been linked to weather manipulation. But what do you guys think? Could there be truth to this, or are we just seeing things that aren't there? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section. While I don't recommend touching colorful creatures in the ocean, what the individual in the next clip did is also something I don't recommend at all. So, the clip opens up with someone walking along the corridors of a home. The person looks up and sees a strange being standing on one of the structures of the place. Instead of leaving and getting safely inside, the person approaches the being for a clearer view and capture. The result is a bit of video, yes, but after a few seconds, whatever it is that he or she was filming disappears and leaves him or her alone. The big question is, what if that being decided to harm or hurt the individual? How would he have escaped and been safe? Speaking of the being, what do you think we're dealing with here? When I first saw this footage, I had to do a double take. Just look at this bird swimming under the sea. It's moving so effortlessly and quickly that it almost seems too impressive to be real. For a moment, I thought this had to be some kind of fake, but then I did some research. This, my friends, is a puffin bird. Yes, the same beautiful bird we often see perched on cliffs or waddling along the shore. But they can also swim. Watching it glide through the water with such grace is truly something to behold. Who knew these little guys were such skilled swimmers? What's fascinating is the puffins are not just dabbling on the surface like many birds, they're actually diving deep, using their wings to fly underwater in search of fish. They can go as deep as 200 feet and stay underwater for up to a minute. It's like they have a whole second life beneath the waves that most of us never get to see.
My ladder is walking by itself. No joke. Yeah, I ain't never seen no like this.
If objects could talk, I'm sure they'd have a lot to say, just like in this footage right here. A man was working with a ladder, had it set down, and went to do something else. When he returned, he found this. The ladder was moving on its own. Just look at that. There's no strings attached, no one nearby pulling it, nothing. You could even see the shadow of the ladder moving on the floor, clearly showing no signs of trickery. No wires or strings attached whatsoever. I'm not sure what this man uses the ladder for, but it seems like the ladder is tired and trying to escape from work. Either that or this man deserves some lashes for telling lies, which I think he is telling, by the way.
My ladder is walking by itself. No joke. Yeah, I ain't never seen no like this.
We're looking at souls inside the dust particles because why is it so bright? Look at them. We're zooming again. Yeah, that's bright as hell. No, bro, that.
This footage was taken by a group of people walking through the city one night when they noticed something truly strange. Two beams of light were shooting into the sky, and around those beams were tiny shiny orbs flying in a mesmerizing pattern. The person who recorded the footage claims that there are orbs and they are souls. In the comments of the video, one person shared an eerie experience of their own, writing, "I went up on the rooftop on 9/11 to the building on Wall Street, and yes, this can be seen. I don't think it's birds or bugs. I think it's the souls of people who have tragically passed away. It's certainly a chilling idea, tiny orbs, souls of the departed rising into the sky. But could there be another explanation? What do you think? Could these orbs really be the souls of those who have lost their lives, or is there something else at play?"
We're looking at souls inside the dust particles because why is it so bright? Look at them. We're zooming again. Yeah, that's bright as hell. No, bro.
Have you ever wondered why humans cannot live forever? Well, take a listen to what Billy Carson said about that during a podcast interview.
Something happened to humans. They just discovered that the lifespan of a human being maxes out at about 120 years. Chromosome number 2, it was taken out and fused together. 2 telomere caps put on the end, limiting our lifespan. But the geneticist said it's an artificial mutation. And you're saying, wait a minute, well, who did it? These Anunnaki Atlantean people. We know that there was a genetic mutation 200,000 years ago. The same time the tablets are estimated to be written, that 120 statement is powerful because in Lil, he says, "My seed shall not abide in man forever. His years shall be 120.
According to Carson, the reason we cannot live forever is due to a genetic mutation introduced by what he believes to be the Anunnaki Atlantean people. He claims that these advanced beings inserted an artificial gene into our DNA, capping our maximum lifespan at around 120 years. Carson bases his theory on ancient texts purportedly inscribed on tablets long before the Bible was written. These texts suggest that our shorter lifespans are the result of deliberate genetic manipulation by a more advanced civilization. So if humans don't live long due to some ancient civilization altering our DNA, what does that mean for us today? This perspective certainly opens up a fascinating dialogue about our origins and the potential influences of advanced civilizations on human history. I'm not the only one who thinks this is strange, right?
Chromosome number 2, it was taken out and fused together. 2 telomere caps put on the end, limiting our lifespan.
There's literally no way that door just opened by itself.
Animals are said to be very sensitive when it comes to spiritual things. A woman noticed that her dog had been acting really strange for a while. It would sit and stare at the shed or bark loudly at it. One day, the locked shed door just flung open. Now, curious and concerned, she decided to go and take a look. The dog walked cautiously toward the shed, but then jumped back as if something had spooked it. It felt like there was something inside, but she couldn't see anything. Ever since, her dog has refused to go near the shed, and the woman herself feels uneasy about the whole situation, prompting her to avoid the shed as well. What do you think the dog sensed? Next up, we visit the waters between Haiti and Cuba, where something rather unusual is happening. Take a look.
Oh my god, what the are the... Is that fish? Mark, look at my phone, they're glowing.
Yeah, I know, I can see from here.
What is glowing underneath the ocean?
It's just a different color.
Mom, no, look. Look at the colors on them. Oh my god.
So this was recorded by someone on a ship, and it's left him puzzled. Sure, the sea is a place of beauty with stuff not many have seen before, but this has many scratching their heads. The individual who uploaded this clip insists there was nothing under the water to make it that colorful. This led to some rather colorful explanations from the community, with some suggesting that it's most probably an underwater UFO. As interesting as that sounds, there are a few individuals who have been on ships who insist that it's definitely a reflection of the ship the individual recorded is in, especially if it's a cruise ship. Unfortunately, I have no experience in this area since anything that has to do with the deep seas scares me. So if you've been on a cruise ship, can you confirm if this is normal or not?
Oh my god, what the are the... Is that fish? Mark, look at my phone, they're glowing.
Yeah, I know, I can see from here.
What is glowing underneath the ocean?
Hey, কারা এখানে? Hey! কি অবস্থা? এই মেয়ে দাঁড়াও। আরে?
The next footage comes from India, and what happens here is pretty eerie, if I do say so myself. The man behind the camera was walking late at night when he stumbled upon a man and a woman sitting on the ground with their backs turned to him. As soon as the man sitting with the woman notices someone approaching, he immediately got up and started running. Without hesitation, the man with the camera chased after him, but no matter how fast he ran, he couldn't catch up. Meanwhile, the woman remained completely calm and unmoved by what was happening. When the man filming gave up the chase and returned to where the woman was, she had now stood up and was walking away, still keeping her back to him. He tried to get her attention, calling out to her, but she never responded. Then things took a turn for the unsettling. The woman stopped walking and stood behind a tree just out of sight. When the cameraman approached to get a better look at her, what he saw sent him running in terror. She had turned ahead, but her face was obscured by her long black hair, and her glowing eyes stared back at him from behind the strands. Her face was grotesque, almost inhuman. Now I understand why the first man ran off in such a panic. But there's something even more puzzling about this whole situation. If the woman is as terrifying as she appears, who was the man sitting with her in the first place? And why did he flee when he saw the cameraman approaching?
Hey, কারা এখানে? Hey! কি অবস্থা? এই মেয়ে দাঁড়াও। আরে?
Still on strange footage, someone shared this bizarre encounter they had one night. They were waiting by some trees when they came across this strange lights moving in the sky. It wasn't the moon, nor was it some type of fireworks. The owner of the footage believes that this could be an alien. While not a popular notion, there are some who believe that aliens are light beings, and this sighting certainly fits the description. The lights moved in an unusual pattern, unlike anything commonly seen in the night sky. Once the encounter was uploaded, it naturally started a debate among members of the paranormal community. While the debates rage on, with many stating this is indeed an alien, we can't help but wonder if the clip is genuine at all. What say you? She participated in a marathon that was routed through some sacred grounds in Hawaii. She thought she was there to have fun, and truly she was, but nothing could have prepared her for what she was going to encounter. Among the bushes, she encountered a being that looked like her. It appeared to be human, but it also didn't look exactly human. It could pass for a ghost or an otherworldly entity. The sight of it would cause anyone to stop and maybe run. Somehow, she saw the being and survived it. How? Well, the answer is much simpler than you think. The area within where she ran was sacred ground that was known for such sightings. I know what you're thinking. If people know such beings roam the place, why would they allow a marathon to run through the place? What if someone was captured or killed? Well, in Hawaiian culture, sacred grounds often intersect with tales of the supernatural, like the night marches or Huaka Ipo. These ghostly processions of ancient Hawaiian warriors or chiefs are said to march through places of historical and spiritual significance, especially at night. Described as formidable figures carrying torches and weapons, they're believed to enforce respect for the sacredness of these sites. Locals understand the profound respect these spirits command and have practices to avoid their wrath, such as lying face down and remaining still. We don't see the lady do that in the clip, but perhaps if that's truly a night marcher, the being decided she probably was not aware and let it go. I know some of you are thinking this sounds like a tall tale, but there are Hawaiians in the comments section of the original post, and this is what they had to say. There are some Hawaiians who didn't believe it was a night marcher though. Take a look at these comments. When you think about it, they do make some good points based on what we know about the night marches. It really was not night, and people are known to die if they don't bow. Based on that, someone made this comment. You've seen the clip, and I've told you a little about the night marches. Based on what you know and what you can see, what do you think we're dealing with here? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. After a particularly heavy rainfall, a woman noticed some cracks forming on a tarred road. Curious, she went in for a closer look and found something truly odd. Between the cracks, there was a bubbling liquid rising up from the underneath. The liquid was moving as if something beneath the surface was boiling or reacting with the road, creating small pockets of bubbles that popped and fizzled. What's going on down there? Is it simply a reaction between water and the heated road, or could it be a chemical reaction, underground pressure, or perhaps something stranger lurking beneath the surface? Here we've got a military aircraft which appears to be part of the famed Blue Angel squadron flying through the sky. A few seconds into the clip, and what initially looked like one plane appears to be two. They fly side by side in perfect formation, and then both jets rotate at exactly the same time before shooting off in unison. This has confused many, with some calling the appearance of the second plane a glitch in the Matrix. Now, usually the whole community just agrees to this, but this time some are saying it's a matter of perspective. The angle from which the whole thing was shot made it look like a single plane initially, but once the angle was right, the second plane became visible. Not many agree with this assertion though, as they insist this is definitely a glitch. Now, if it's not a glitch, which I don't think it is, I think the flying is absolutely impressive. The synchronization, precision, and control these pilots display are beyond remarkable. They make something so challenging look almost effortless. But then again, I could be wrong. It could really be a glitch. What say you? Bizarre, right? When I first saw this clip, I was wondering what exactly I was looking at. In the clip, we see a young lady exploring a location that seems to have these humanoids that could pass for humans. The major disqualifying factor is those blue mechanical setups that take up space where their ears and the back of their heads should be. It gives them this robo-look coupled with the way their eyes move and their mannerisms. When I first saw this, I was convinced there was some new breed of robots powered by AI. In fact, I was so impressed by the realism that I started showing to others in my team. They shared my opinions until my video editor saw them. He laughed a bit and told me those are actually humans in costumes for a movie promo. The movie came out last year and it's titled The Creator. It's about an AI and the human race, which is why they look like that. It all made sense after that explanation, and I must say that I've added the movie to my bucket list. What I'm most thankful for is the fact that I didn't show it to Julius first. I can already hear his skeptical laugh with his disapproving gaze. You know what? Let's move on to the next clip. Next, we've got a rather interesting video that was recorded by a family while out on their Sunday drive. Enjoy. Now, you don't need me to do a lot of commentary on this one because I'm guessing you already know what you're looking at. This is one of the few Bigfoot clips that the community accepts wholeheartedly as being true and real. The big guy seems to be out on his own enjoying his time in the field. He's unaware he's being filmed, which is a good thing as it allows us to enjoy its natural behavior and gait. I do wish the clip was a bit up close so we could see more of its features, but you can't always get everything you want, right? At least this clip isn't overly blurry and shaky as some of the other alleged ones are. Maybe we should send Aaron to the same area to bring us her own footage. What do you guys think? Trees can grow to incredible sizes, and sometimes they even seem big enough to hide a person inside. One day, as a passerby was strolling by an enormous tree, something strange caught his eye. There was a hole in the tree, which is pretty normal, right? But when he got closer, he saw something eerie. Inside the hollow space was an eye. This wasn't a human eye, it was far too small for that. The skin around it had an unusual pattern, almost like a zebra, but instead of black and white, it was a mix of earthy browns. It was staring right at him from the dark hollow of the tree. What kind of creature has an eye like this, tucked away inside a tree? Is this some kind of hidden forest dweller, an animal we've never encountered, or could this be something even more mysterious? Whatever it is, it's unsettling. This video was captured in Angangio, Mexico, and was shared by a local resident. In the footage, the resident came across some strange objects hovering in the sky. One of these objects was closer to the ground, making it easier to see its odd shape. It appeared round but had these sharp, pointy edges that made it stand out as something unusual. There was also a second object further up in the sky, although it was much harder to make out clearly. Many who've seen this footage believe that we're looking at what could be some sort of UFO activity. But what are your thoughts on this? Horses have played a vital role in shaping history. Their grace, strength, and versatility make them unique among animals. Draft horses in particular are the epitome of raw power and endurance. These massive, muscular beasts are often referred to as draft horses. Despite their imposing size, draft horses are known for their calm and patient demeanor, making them invaluable in various tasks throughout history. They've been the backbone of agriculture, pulling heavy plows through fields and hauling logs in deep forests. Their strength has been harnessed for construction, helping to build roads and railways in the days before modern machinery. Draft horses have also been indispensable in warfare. They were used to carry knights in full armor during medieval times, and later they pulled artillery and supply wagons across battlefields. Their ability to work in harsh conditions, whether trudging through mud or snow, made them a key asset in military campaigns. But beyond their utilitarian roles, draft horses are celebrated in cultures around the world. They're often featured in festivals and parades, their grandeur and power on full display. Breeds like the Shire, Clydesdale, and Percheron are particularly famous, not just for their size, but for their noble appearance and history. In today's world, while modern technology has replaced many of the tasks draft horses once performed, these majestic animals continue to be cherished. They're often seen in shows where their strength and beauty are admired, and in some rural areas they still perform the tasks they've done for centuries. The clip you're seeing was allegedly recorded in Russia. It shows a ball of light emerging from the clouds. Once this large energy ball, at least I think that's what it is, goes out of sight, a couple of smaller energy balls follows it out of sight. Naturally, this clip had many talking. Some suspected that it might be an alien ship whose cloaking abilities may have just ailed it as it emerged from the cloud. Others thought that the whole thing was edited to make it look like that and spread alien propaganda. You've seen the clip yourself, so what do you think? At Fox Creek, Alberta, a man stumbled upon something unusual while walking near a sandy area by the water. The sand was soft and untouched, except for a set of massive footprints. These weren't your ordinary footprints. They were barefoot and human-like, but significantly larger, wider, and left deep impressions about 2 inches into the sand. Given the area's reputation for Bigfoot sightings, these prints seem to align with the numerous reports of the elusive creature in the region. Now, if you think that's strange, take a look at this next image. It was captured by a truck driver's dash cam in Alberta. The driver had pulled over to pick up some equipment, and as he stepped out of the truck, he noticed something that sent chills down his spine. This massive creature standing behind a tree. Panicked, he bolted back into his truck and drove away, but not before his dashcam recorded a glimpse of the mysterious figure. The creature was estimated to be around 10 feet tall, towering ominously behind the tree. These sightings add to the growing number of encounters with something extraordinary in Alberta. Could these really be signs of Bigfoot? Before you're tempted to click away, this is actually a paranormal clip. Wait a few seconds and there, see it? To your left in the corner, there's a pair of eyes staring at the woman. That's not exactly normal now, is it? We're not told where exactly this was filmed, only that it was filmed near the woods, and the woman appears to have been exercising or doing yoga. Not sure why she would choose such a location, but then again, there are people who feel much closer to nature. She had her session, went home, and wanted to review her clips. It was at that moment that she noticed that she was not alone in the woods. She uploaded it online seeking answers, but the paranormal community couldn't agree on what we were dealing with. Some thought it was a demon, others a possessed ape, and some an otherworldly being. Given the nature of the clip, I can understand where each of them was coming from. I went through the comments section of the original post and saw comments saying there was more than one set of eyes. One even mentioned there was 2 sets of eyes. This got me watching over and over until I could spot them. Can you? Despite the large number of individuals calling this clip legit, there were still some who believed that this had to be CGI. You've seen the clip. What do you think? Over the years, a lot of footage has emerged claiming to capture alien encounters. Take a look at this one, for instance. This alien creature was spotted one night. The creature had huge dark eyes, a large head, and a thin neck. Its human-like shoulders were visible, but that was all that could be seen in the footage. The camera was also shaky, adding to the eerie and mysterious quality of the video. The owner of the footage firmly believed that this was a real-life gray alien. When you think about it, it fits the classic description of aliens, grays to be specific. They're often depicted with large heads, big dark eyes, and slender bodies. Given this was taken close to the alien, you can't help but wonder why it was so grainy and blurry. Either the aliens have something going on with their bodies affecting the cameras, or the one who uploaded this has something to hide. Maybe that's just the skeptic in me, but what do you guys think? I know some of you don't like to close the lid when you flush, but did you know doing so could help you live long? Don't believe me? Take a look at this. Now, this young lad decided to conduct an experiment to check for the presence of bacteria in the bathroom. He placed his petri dish down and timed it for 10 minutes. He repeated the experiment multiple times. First in the bathroom where there was no flush, then next in the bathroom where someone had used the WC and flushed, and finally one where the WC was cleaned and flushed. You would think the results from the cleaned and flushed bathroom would be best. It turns out there was no real difference as they both had bacteria growing in them. Does that mean you have to go to the bathroom in a hazmat suit? Well, no. It turns out that just closing the lid before you flush fixes the problem. Yes, it's that simple. I know you're tempted to argue with me, but just close the lid and you'll be fine. You have to wonder, though, if the petri dish was not fine after the test, what about the phone? At this point, not much seems to surprise me anymore, especially when AI and technology are involved. Just take a look at this footage. Engineers have created a robot that looks exactly like Donald Trump. And when I say it looks real, I mean really real. It's not just Trump either. There are quite a few other public figures who have been replicated using AI and robotics, and it's starting to get eerie. These replicas are so lifelike that it makes you wonder about some of the strange behaviors we sometimes see from these big personalities in public. Could it be that we're seeing robots instead of real people to maintain appearances? While the experts do the talking in the comments section, allow me to show you this. This is an alleged UFO sighting that popped up in my feed. Initially, I was excited because Aaron is the one who brings those clips. I wanted something genuine and authentic from myself, but the more I looked at this, the more I felt it was not really or genuine. In a bid to avoid being laughed at or teased, I added this discreetly to our list of clips for the day. So you've seen it. Do you think it's genuine? Let me know in the comments section. A little disclaimer though, I have a hard time believing this is a real deal. That's out of the way, let's hear your thoughts. Stepping away from odd human behaviors, we step into the realm and world of odd and strange-looking creatures. Take a look at this one, for instance. When I saw this, my first thought was, if a dragon had a baby with an everyday lizard, I would expect something like this, but given the sizes of both creatures, that doesn't really look possible. So I spent some time doing research, aka asking Julius, and he told me that's probably the red-eyed crocodile skink. If you're like me and you didn't know what that is, it turns out that the red-eyed crocodile skink, aka Tribolonotus gracilis, is a small distinctive reptile native to the rainforests of New Guinea. They were named so because of their striking orange-red eye rings and tough armor-like scales that resemble a crocodile's. These skinks are relatively small, typically growing up to 8 to 10 inches in length. Their rugged appearance is complemented by a row of spiky scales along their back, adding to their prehistoric dragon-like look. They are mostly nocturnal and thrive in humid, shaded environments, often hiding their leaves and logs during the day to avoid predators. Despite their fearsome appearance, red-eyed crocodile skinks are generally shy and non-aggressive, often choosing to freeze or play dead when threatened. Just like me in high school when I saw my crush, but that's not what we are here for today. Their diet consists mainly of insects such as crickets and mealworms. In other words, you and I don't have to worry about getting attacked or worse, eaten. They also exhibit interesting behaviors like vocalizing when distressed and occasionally caring for their young, a rarity among reptiles. I don't know about you, but I find these ones interesting and cool. Now, this is what I imagine an alien invasion to look like. A dimly lit sky with several unusual glowing circular objects hovering above the horizon. These luminous rings emit a soft, otherworldly glow and seem to be descending or ascending mysteriously. Someone shared this image they captured, and it looks like the aliens might be making an entrance too. However, there's a catch. Something about this image screams CGI. The perfect alignment, the uniform glow, and the almost too clean appearance make it look like it was rendered with sophisticated computer graphics software. In the age of digital manipulation, it's not uncommon for people to create hoaxes or artistic representations that are mistaken for real phenomena. But let's not dismiss it too quickly. If this image is authentic, it could be groundbreaking evidence of alien crafts visiting our world. You've seen the clip as well. What do you think? While you share your experiences, we head over to the island of Cozumel where numerous sinkholes have opened up. The funny thing is, they allegedly appeared and then later disappeared at the same time. As if that was not weird enough, the sinkholes were also perfectly round, which has got everyone talking. Many have theories, with some claiming this was the sign of the end of times and what have you, but one word caught our attention: HAARP. Yes, the same one we mentioned when we spoke about the weather control. Coincidence? Well, Aaron thinks not, but what say you? There are times when you can catch a glimpse of the moon during the day. It might not be super clear, but it's definitely there. Well, one observer happened to spot it and began filming, and then something unexpected happened. In the video, something that looks like some sort of meteor or celestial object appears by the moon. Within seconds, it crashes straight into the moon, and you can actually see the impact. The side where it collides just comes apart, almost like an explosion, and the footage ends abruptly after that. Could this be an authentic moment of a meteor crashing into the moon, or is it clever video editing? On second thought, if something crashed into the moon, we would see it. So what's happening here? In this clip, we're introduced to a scene that's set up in the great outdoors. For the first few seconds of the clip, we see nothing, but that soon changes when an unknown creature quickly moves through the dark. The individual who uploaded this is unable to tell what it is and is very scared. We're unable to also tell what exactly this creature is, but we think it's an animal and nothing to be particularly worried about. Unless there's something I'm missing. If there is, please let me know. As you know, we love to start our episodes with something grand and big, but today's clip is one that has me and everyone else scratching their head. Take a look. Right off the bat, you can tell that this clip looks like it's being recorded at the beach, but that does not make this weird. No. If you pay attention to the clip, you'll notice that there's something weird happening behind the waves, perhaps in the clouds. It looks like there's a colossal figure or being behind the clouds. It appears to be moving, yet all we can see is the shadow cast on the clouds and nothing more. Some are convinced we're dealing with a giant. Some also think it's a sea creature, whereas there are also some who believe that it's nothing more than an alien ship. Personally, I'm not sure what to make of this one. Are you? How large do you think jellyfish get? Well, look at this clip. This was recorded by a man who was allegedly paddleboarding in South America. See those odd things in the water? That's allegedly jellyfish, and once he noticed them, he decided to stop paddling so he wouldn't trigger any form of aggression from them. If you're wondering if this is real, I did the research so you wouldn't have to. I found out the jellyfish species found in South America can widely vary in size, from small species to some that are quite large. The size of jellyfish depends on the species, and South American waters host a variety of them, including those along the coasts of Brazil, Argentina, and Chile. One of the largest jellyfish in South American waters is the lion's mane jellyfish, also known as Cyana capillata, which can grow quite large. While it's more commonly associated with cold and northern waters, there are reports of large jellyfish of similar species in South American regions. These jellyfish can have tentacles that extend over 30 meters in length, although their bell or main body is typically around 1 to 2 meters across in a very large individual. Other jellyfish like moon jellyfish, scientifically called Orola aurita, which are found along the Atlantic coast of South America, are smaller, with bell diameters usually ranging from 4 to 6 inches. In warmer waters, such as off the coast of the Brazilian coast, species like the Portuguese man-o'-war are often mistaken for jellyfish. Although technically a siphonophore, its tentacles can reach lengths of up to 30 meters, making it one of the largest jellyfish-like creatures in South American waters. So, depending on the species, jellyfish in South America can range from just a few centimeters in size to some with massive tentacles that extend tens of meters. So, I know what you're thinking. Which of them do we see in the clip right now? The answer is, I don't know. Any experts around? Next, take a look at this footage that was taken from a farmer's trail camera. On a peaceful night at the farm, a single cow stands, appearing captivated by something. As you watch the video, you see the cow's head tracking an unseen presence. Suddenly, a ghostly figure moves by the cow and then vanishes into the night. A closer look at the footage, and you realize that this ghostly figure looks like a man on a horse. But how? How's that even possible? Aaron thinks it might be the ghost of a rider who may have passed on with his horse in that area. Something like your distressed ghost that can't find peace and is condemned to roam the earth until it does. Julius, however, thinks that's false. He thinks it could just be a man on a horse that's out of focus on a night cam capture. To be fair, cameras struggle at night when it comes to low-light conditions and videos, but what are your thoughts on this? A ghost or the result of a not-so-focused camera capturing an individual on a horse? Please do share your thoughts. What are we looking at here? It's one of the most dangerous creatures lurking in the ocean's depths, the box jellyfish. At first glance, it might seem almost ethereal with its transparent, almost ghost-like appearance, and a soft glow that gives it an angelic, otherworldly beauty. But don't let its delicate appearance fool you. This is one of the deadliest creatures in the sea. The box jellyfish is known for its venomous tentacles, which can deliver a sting potent enough to cause excruciating pain, heart failure, and, in some cases, death. What makes this creature even more terrifying is its almost invisible nature. Its translucent body makes it nearly impossible to spot in the water, turning a peaceful swim into a potentially deadly encounter. Imagine being in the water and suddenly feeling a searing pain without even seeing what caused it. That's the danger of the box jellyfish, silent, unseen, and lethal. So watch out for these guys when you're out on a swim. On August the 5th, 2024, near Lake Arrowhead, California, something extraordinary unfolded in the skies. A witness captured a remarkable sight, what appeared to be an unidentified aerial phenomenon silently hovering over the waters of the Southern California lake area. This glowing object was no ordinary star. It was much larger and brighter, hanging in the sky with an almost otherworldly presence. Unlike the usual twinkling stars, this UAP remained steady. There was no sound, no sudden movements, just a mysterious luminous object suspended in the sky. With no official explanation, this eerie encounter has added another layer to the ever-growing list of unexplained events that continue to baffle both skeptics and believers alike. Now, we've shared creepy images from cameras given at kids over the years, but it's hard to even tell them apart. Take this one, for instance.
She just took a picture and she says, "Mommy, look, there's a man in the photo." I said, "What?" She said, "There's a man in my photo." And I went like that real quick. Like, this just happened just like 5 minutes ago. Like, no one else is here. It's just us. Like, I'm going to have to change the date and time so I can get more pictures for y'all. But look at that.
A mother gave her child a camera to play with, and it was all rainbows and colors until her daughter told her that she'd captured a man in the photo. Now, you have to understand that they didn't have anyone with them, so this rubbed the mom off the wrong way. She took the camera to check, and sure enough, there was something, or should I say, someone in there. They weren't there with anyone, so not only was this perplexing, it was freaky and scary as well. She posted this online seeking answers and sharing her experience. If you ask me, what she should have done was leave that place, but then again, perhaps I'm just overreacting. What would you have done?
She just took a picture and she says, "Mommy, look, there's a man in the photo." I said, "What?" She said, "There's a man in my photo." And I went like that real quick. Like, this just happened just like 5 minutes ago.
It's been a while, but it's time for our bonus segment. For all those new to it, this is the part of the video where I show you a scene, object, or creature, and you try to identify it. The best answer gets a shout out in the next episode. With that out of the way, let's take a look at today's mystery clip.
Oh my god. Wow. Wow. That is hilarious.
It's got like a...
Can you identify the creature in this clip? If you can, kindly let us know its name in the comments section, and do well to add a unique fact. We will highlight the best answer with the highest likes to send a shout out to. All the best.
Oh my god. Wow. Wow. That is hilarious.
It's got like a...
Are you familiar with the term petrification? I'm not talking about the feeling of being terrified. What I'm referring to is when organic matter turns into stone after being exposed to minerals for a long period. Now, why did I ask this? Well, take a look at this footage. Someone found this cave on the side of a mountain, and looking out from the cave is a giant head made of stone. This could just be a carving, but the location of this carving is not exactly a prime spot to exhibit your art, and that's where the theory of petrification comes in. There are a lot of mountains and stone structures all over the world with faces on them. There are some who believe that these faces could have belonged to giants who once roamed the earth. Now, I know it sounds like a stretch, but we have found other stone structures around the world that were also abnormally large bodies that could not be explained. The logical thing would be to say that earlier civilizations built them, but here's the thing. Those civilizations couldn't have had the technology to build these large structures, so unless they were magical beings that came to help them put the structures together, there's a strong possibility that we could be dealing with giants here. What do you think? Now, what is that right there? A small, strange creature was captured on video in someone's home. It looked like a tiny humanoid with a big belly and an ugly appearance. The moment it realized it had been spotted, the creature started to run away, or more accurately, it wobbled away quickly. This peculiar creature was unlike anything seen before. Its small stature and unusual features made it both fascinating and frightening. It had a grotesque, almost otherworldly look with a big belly that swayed as it moved. The sight of it wobbling away is almost comical, yet eerie at the same time. The big question now is, what is that? Aaron thinks it's a demon, and as usual, our science whiz Julius thinks it's CGI. Who are you siding with?
For some reason, the f***ing toilet started crying.
A woman was in a public restroom when she noticed a strange sound coming from one of the toilet stalls. She decided to record the noise, capturing an eerie, almost mechanical groaning sound coming from the toilet itself. The noise seemed to echo and was unlike any typical plumbing sounds you'd expect. What could be causing this mysterious sound? Could it be a plumbing issue, or is there something more unusual happening here?
And for some reason, the toilet started crying.
These two things, and I'm spitting into this.
Yeah, so that's a little tube that I get to spit into, I guess.
Now imagine you go to the doctor to get yourself checked, and when you walk in there, the nurses ask you if there was a complication. You explain to them that you're actually there to get treatment to repair the ulnar collateral ligament in the elbow. They tell you that the procedure was just completed and wanted to know if you had any discomfort. You're confused and try to explain it's your first time there. They ask you if you're Brady Fiegel, and you confirm, and they tell you that you've been treated. This puzzles you and them because they think that you're joking. After a little back and forth, you realize there's been another person in the clinic who looks just like you and has the same injury and booked to see the same doctor on the same day as you. Well, you'd be shocked, right? It definitely has to be a glitch in the Matrix, right? Well, this was the reality of two men named Bradley Fiegel. Both men are 6'4", red-haired, and wear glasses. Naturally, this was too much of a coincidence, and DNA tests were taken. The funny thing is, the test results showed they were not related in any way. Despite looking alike, one Brady Fiegel, aged 33, is a left-handed pitcher who made his MLB debut with the Pittsburgh Pirates in 2024 after a long and unconventional journey through the minor leagues and independent baseball teams. He persevered through challenges like injuries and the pandemic to finally achieve his major league dream. The other Brady Fiegel, 27, is a right-handed pitcher currently in the Las Vegas Aviators organization. Interestingly, they even underwent the same elbow surgery by the same doctor years apart. Despite their uncanny resemblance and the DNA test confirming they're not biologically related, they consider themselves brothers in a way due to their shared experiences. Many who heard this story felt it was definitely a glitch in the Matrix. I mean, there's just too many coincidences. You've heard the story yourself. What do you also think?
Our Brady Fiegels find that they're not brothers or even related. So what we seem to have is a very bizarre coincidence of two total strangers who look alike, happen to share the same name and occupation. What are the odds?
We're still brothers in a way, I guess, you know.
And we're always going to be Brady Fiegel.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And we are witnessing that today. The other value of technology I will point out was after a round of intense finishing conversations and negotiations over the weekend that started on Saturday morning with the speaker, myself, and the trade rep, Robert Lighthizer.
There are countless videos online showing people wearing hyper-realistic silicone masks, blending in seamlessly and changing their appearance. These masks can be incredibly deceptive, making it difficult to tell if someone is hiding behind one. But there's one thing about them that often gives it away: the facial expressions. The creases on the forehead, the way they smile, it all appears forced and very unnatural. Now let's take a closer look at this next footage. Focus on the woman standing behind the man who's speaking. Pay attention to her facial expressions. Notice how she blinks far too often and widens her eyes every now and then. It just doesn't look natural, right? Something about it seems off. Is it possible that she's wearing one of these masks, or is there another explanation for her strange behavior? What do you think?
The speaker was on a hunting expedition. We spoke with him frequently. But the speaker talked to me earnestly about we're near.
This video was taken at sea by one of the fishermen aboard a fishing boat. They had made a huge catch that day, and as they were hauling the heavy net out of the water, things began to take a strange turn. The fish were thrashing wildly, almost as if they sensed something unusual. Then something truly unsettling happened. A webbed hand reached out from the net, attempting to grab one of the men who was struggling with the heavy load. The man was quick to pull back. The hand quickly retreated into the depths of the net, disappearing as quickly as it appeared. This begs the question, had they inadvertently captured a mermaid or siren? The mere thought sends chills down the spine. After all, it's not every day that one encounters something so bizarre and unexplainable. What do you think?
Good to finally meet you, Reggie. Thanks for reaching out. To what do I owe the pleasure of your presence?
I assure you the pleasure is all mine, Alvar. You have been watched for many, many years and many lifetimes. It's with great pride that I come to you and I offer a settlement for humankind.
In this unsettling conversation, a man claims to speak with an ancient Sumerian Anunnaki deity named Enki. According to Enki, she and her sister hybridized humans, combining their genetics of nomads with that of beings from their home planet Nibiru. The purpose? Humans were designed as workers to mine gold on Earth, which would then be taken back to Nibiru to repair their damaged atmosphere. Enki goes on to say that her kind no longer holds control over humanity, having lost it about 450,000 years ago. This conversation dives into an unusual and thought-provoking story, blending elements of human origins, ancient civilization, and extraterrestrial intervention. What do you think of this bizarre and intriguing dialogue? Could there be more to it than meets the eye?
I was asked to leave. I was asked to leave by Creator of all because, as my brother would say, I meddle. And when I say that, I don't mean distressfully. I was trying to help. It seemed more I helped and more I didn't.
Look, I just want to stop you there because I don't want you to just make public excuses for all the stunts you pull.
What is that over there?
What is it?
I don't know. Over there.
Where?
Oh my God! Hold on. What is that?
Wait a second. Robin, what is that?
Robin, what are you doing?
Oh my God, it's running! Dude! No way, what was that? In this footage, two hunters had a startling encounter in the woods. While out near a river, they spotted a massive figure on the other side, just at the edge of the woods. This creature, estimated to be around 8 feet tall, was standing on two legs and staring directly at them. Clearly alarmed, one of the hunters fires a shot, causing the creature to bulge back into the cover of the trees. Even though the footage is shaky and blurry, you can make out that the figure is bear-sized but distinctly bipedal, unlike any bear. The hunter's reactions, especially their shocked tones, make the encounter seem all the more intense and real. Could this really be a Bigfoot sighting?
Robin, what are you doing?
Oh my God, it's running! Dude! No way, what was that? If you've never trusted self-driving cars, then maybe this next clip might prove you right. Take a look.
Okay, I don't know why it did that.
The driver in this vehicle was simply enjoying a leisurely cruise when, without warning, the Tesla suddenly veered off the road. It's not supposed to do that, and it's not designed to do that, especially when there's another car coming from the opposite direction. So what could have happened here? The truth is, we don't really know. Some users of Teslas, although not a lot, have recorded having had such experiences. For a self-driving car, these are defects it can't afford to have. It could result in serious tragedies. This is what the masses had to say in the comments section of the original post. A number of individuals thought the car was simply trying to pass by the car stopping ahead. As logical as that sounds, the car's sensors should still have picked up the solid line in incoming traffic. This made others think there was something more sinister going on, like these users.
Now, that sounds funny, but it could just be bugs. I mean, AI hasn't gotten to the point where it can't decide to kill humans, right? Right.
Okay, I don't know why it did that.
A farmer from Poland shared this incredible footage, a scene that looks like it's straight out of Chicken Run 2. As you can see, chickens were storming out of the farm and chasing after a truck. But that's not all. Ostriches were also running alongside them, and they had human-shaped clothes hanging from their necks. The spectacle of chickens and ostriches on the run is amusing enough, but the addition of the clothes on the ostriches makes it look surreal, almost like a scene crafted with CGI. Could this be the real-life antics of farm animals, or is it the product of some clever digital manipulation? The farmer insists it's real, but the scene certainly has an uncanny, almost cinematic quality to it. What do you think? We've got another strange moment from the world of celebrities, this time involving Nicki Minaj, and honestly, it's hard not to notice how off it looks.
You alright? Huh? You okay?
During what seemed like a normal sit-down chat, Nicki suddenly starts behaving very strangely. Her eyes widen, she mutters something almost unintelligible, and her entire demeanor shifts, but not in the usual animated Nicki Minaj kind of way. It was quick, weird, and definitely out of character, even for someone known for eccentric energy. Now, people online are divided. Some say this was just a moment of nerves or acting, but others are pointing to the MK Ultra conspiracy theory. It says many celebrities are being controlled or manipulated by powerful elites using psychological programming. According to this theory, these kinds of glitches are signs of the programming breaking down. Then there's the reptilian shapeshifters. Some believe Nicki might be one of those alien-human hybrids supposedly hiding in plain sight. That's when people start pointing out eye shapes changing, odd blinking patterns, or inhuman movements. To top it all off, the man next to her in the clip even looks visibly concerned and asks if she's okay. What's your take? A glitch in the Matrix or something else entirely?
You alright? Huh? You okay?
A man had lived in his house for over 2 decades, which were quiet, uneventful years. But everything changed one ordinary afternoon while he was mowing the lawn. He noticed a patch of dead grass. Curious, he tapped it with the end of his mower, and to his surprise, it sounded hollow underneath. Something wasn't right. He shared a video of it online, and viewers immediately encouraged him to investigate. And after some hesitation, he finally did. And what he discovered was chilling. It was an old, sealed well, and the water inside had risen all the way to the top. He mentioned online that he planned to pump the water out just to see what might be hiding at the bottom, but that night, something happened. He was jolted awake by strange noises coming from beneath his house. It was a low, wet growl, like something breathing heavily and shifting in the darkness. He grabbed his phone and quietly stepped outside. With the flashlight on, he crouched to look under the house and saw nothing, but the audio captured it. It was a strange, gurgling, guttural sound. It echoed faintly, but clearly like it was coming from deep below. Shaken, the man decided to spend the night elsewhere. He believes that whatever it was came from the well. Some viewers claim it could be a gator or an animal trapped inside, but others say that the sound wasn't from anything living in the natural world. Well, you've seen the clip, so what do you think we're dealing with here?
Fuck out of here. That's your fault.
Now, I'm no fan of spiders, but I'm pretty sure that even spider fans would be creeped out by this one. The individual who posted this insists it's a camel spider, and since I'm no expert, we're gonna go with it. From my research, it turns out that the camel spiders, also known as solifugi, are arachnids commonly found in desert regions around the world, particularly in the Middle East, Africa, and parts of the Americas. Despite their name, they're neither spiders nor scorpions, but belong to their own distinct order within Arachnida. Camel spiders are notable for their impressive speed, capable of reaching up to 10 miles per hour, and their large, intimidating appearance with body sizes reaching up to 6 inches, including their legs. Through urban legends often exaggerated their size, venom, and behavior, camel spiders are not venomous and pose no significant threat to humans. They use their powerful jaws, or caliculae, to capture and consume prey like insects, small lizards, and rodents. Camel spiders are nocturnal and highly adapted to desert environments, using their speed and predatory skills to survive. If you're curious about any myths or specific aspects of their behavior, let me know. Perhaps we could invite Julius to take over this one. There are plenty of unique Guinness World Records out there, each with its own fascinating backstory. But Diane Armstrong's story stands out. Known as the woman with the world's longest nails, her decision to grow them has an emotional twist. Diane lost a daughter over 2 decades ago, and in her grief, she decided to let her nails grow in honor of a memory. Now her nails are as thick as fingers and nearly as tall as she is. It's a physical tribute she carries with her every day. This record is more than just a number, it's a way for Diane to remember and feel connected to her daughter. Although this accomplishment has brought her recognition, it also raises questions about her day-to-day life. How does she manage daily routines with such lengthy nails? And importantly, is this a healthy way to cope with grief? Have you heard of Project Abigail? This unsettling footage was claimed to have come straight from the secretive experiment itself. Shot in black and white, the grainy video shows a cold, sterile room lined with metal-framed hospital beds, and the lighting is dim. Everything is still until a loud sound echoes through the space, and that's when it begins. The people in the beds, each one dressed in what looks like hospital robes, suddenly jolt awake. They scramble out of their beds, running toward the door in total chaos, as if something absolutely terrifying has just been unleashed. For those unfamiliar, Project Abigail is one of the more disturbing legends linked to Area 51. It's said to have been a highly classified human experiment conducted during the World War II era, supposedly to create a kind of super soldier. The story centers around a woman named Abigail, believed to be the daughter of a top-ranking military officer, but as the story goes, whatever they did to her went wrong. Some versions claim she was exposed to a series of experimental chemical treatments. Others say her body was mutated. It's also said that she was kept alive, locked away deep inside the facility after the project was shut down. Many people say it's just an urban legend, but others believe there's some truth to it. After all, there's always a little truth in every myth, right? And if this video really did come from Project Abigail, then, well, maybe the story isn't just a story after all.
They say animals are more perceptive than we are, especially when it comes to things beyond our physical world. Some believe they can sense spiritual energy, danger, or even death long before we can. A woman came home one night to something she couldn't explain. Her apartment, usually quiet, felt off, and what she saw next chilled her to the bone. There were birds in her home, and quite a number of them, if we aren't mistaken. The strange thing is, she didn't own any. There shouldn't have been any birds in her home at all. They weren't chirping or flying about, instead they were completely silent. Stranger still was the way they'd arranged themselves. One had forced its body into a tiny space between the window frame. Another faced upward as if staring into something invisible. One was wedged between the door hinge and the wall, completely still, like it had hidden there in a panic. Another lay flat beneath the door, motionless, as though it had slipped under, trying to escape something. None of them moved. They weren't making a sound. We don't even know if they were alive or if they'd passed, but one thing was clear. Something had terrified them into total silence. People online believe animals sometimes sense spirits or even the approach of death. To them, the behavior of the birds was the sign of impending doom. Some also think there might be a more natural explanation. The only problem is, they couldn't give us any. So what do you think happened here? Is there something we're missing?
There's birds, guys. There's birds in my house. I don't know what to do. There's birds in my house. There's birds. There's a bird. There's a bird right there. There's a bird back there. Right there. There's a bird right there. There's so many birds. There's a bird right there. There's a bird. Oh, there's a bird right there. There's so many birds. Oh, there's so many birds.
This is a video called a Comburgus video, which is a close-up of a craft, so close that you can see the occupants. It is 100% real, and I was there as that was filmed.
Back in 2008, a famous piece of footage known as the Gumbagus footage was captured, showing a close-up of a UFO. When analysts examined the footage more closely, zooming in, revealing what appeared to be figures inside the craft. These figures had large heads, thin necks, and distinctive features resembling the gray alien archetype, with smooth, expressionless faces. This footage has since been widely discussed and studied for its uncanny details. Could this be one of the most compelling UFO sightings on record?
The whole footage has been analyzed for a more scientific board for 2.5 weeks, frame by frame, pixel by pixel, and this is 100% genuine footage.
Now this next one is one I have no words for. Let's take a look at it together. It was supposed to be a football game like any other until lightning decided to pay a visit. Just in case you didn't realize it, the reason those players fell is because lightning struck the field. Not everybody went down. Those who were warming up and running by the pitch didn't go down. Those walking slowly did, and as expected, the officials and spectators panicked. This is something no one who went there that day was expecting. Now the big question is, why did lightning strike during the game, and how come not everyone was affected? Do you have answers, or should we consider this the wrath of God? Kindly share your thoughts in the comments section.
Does Google track my movement? Does Google, through this phone, know that I have moved here and moved over to the left? It's either yes or no.
Not by default. There may be a Google service which you've opted into use, and if...
So Google knows that I am moving over there. It's not a trick question. You know, you make $100 million a year, you ought to be able to answer that question. Does Google know through this phone that I am moving over there and sit next to Mr. Johnson, which would make him real nervous? It's his question. It's yes or no.
I won't be able to answer without looking at...
You can't say yes or no.
Without knowing more details, sir.
This next footage appears to be some kind of court hearing or official proceeding, though the exact details are unclear. What is clear, however, is the unsettling exchange that takes place in the clip. A man is asked a simple question. Can Google track your movement from one place to another? The man being questioned seems to be someone affiliated with Google or someone expecting to have insight into their data systems. But instead of giving a direct yes or no, he dodges the question. He skirts around the topic, avoiding giving a firm answer, and just leaves the question hanging. Now, let's be real, we already know the answer. Google knows everything, from your last location to what route you took, from how long you were there, and even what you might be thinking about buying next. All of it. Every click, swipe, and step is recorded, and many believe it goes even deeper than that. There's this concept known as biotrace. It's when your very thoughts, emotions, and biological reactions are being monitored in subtle ways. That's why sometimes you just think about something, and the next thing you know, you're seeing ads for it all over your phone. That cannot just be a coincidence. Something about this entire setup feels bigger than we're being told, and with these corporations sitting on mountains of personal data, it makes you wonder just how much of you they really own.
Google knows that I am moving over there. It's not a trick question. You know, you make $100 million a year, you ought to be able to answer that question. Does Google know through this phone that I am moving over there and sit next to Mr. Johnson, which would make him real nervous? It's his question. It's yes or no.
I won't be able to answer without looking at...
You can't say yes or no.
Without knowing more details, sir.
A police officer was patrolling a quiet neighborhood when he passed by a massive old house that locals say has been abandoned for years. There are even rumors that it's haunted, which is why no one ever goes near it. But as he drove past, something caught his eye. At the front doorway, he saw what looked like someone peeking out at him from inside the house. Just a brief moment, and then it was gone. But if you look closely at the footage, you can actually see it too. On the left side of the doorway, a figure appears, then quickly disappears. The officer then reversed his patrol car to get a better look, and as he does, the figure darts across the doorway again just as suddenly. Now, this house hasn't had any known residents in years. The officer was shaken by what he saw. Some viewers who saw the footage suggested it could be a homeless person squatting inside, or maybe someone hiding after breaking in, but others are convinced this is a ghost, possibly the very presence that gave the house its haunted reputation to begin with. But what do you think?
At least I know I'm not crazy, because there's definitely somebody standing right there.
We all know there has been a funny year for everything alien and paranormal, but especially for UFOs and UAPs, with the USA's subtle hint that they might actually exist. The clip playing out on your screen was shared a few weeks ago and quickly went viral. At first, many individuals didn't know what to make of it, but with time and additional footage and evidence, many have come to suspect that we're actually dealing with something extraterrestrial. This was further confirmed when it was allegedly confirmed during a U.S. congressional hearing that there may be UAPs in our oceans. The fishermen who captured this mystery were pressured and scared into silence. After connecting all the dots, I think it should be obvious why they were, don't you think?
Yo no sé si logras ver lo que yo veo. Mira el reflejo. No hay reflejo. Es la silla. Es mi trípode. No hay reflejo. Literal.
What do you think this is? If you're tempted to think it's CGI or some sort of filter or effect, the individual who uploaded this insists that it's not. Instead, she states that it appeared in a room out of nowhere and she didn't know what to do with it. She doesn't tell us if it disappeared on its own or if it's still there, but she does ask us for answers. Some members of the team think it might be portal-related, whereas others think it might be a sign that there's an angel in the room. Personally, I don't think I have an interpretation for it, but do you?
Yo no sé si logras ver lo que yo veo. Mira el reflejo. No hay reflejo. Es la silla. Es mi trípode. No hay reflejo. Literal.
This next footage that went viral back in February comes straight out of Campo Grande, Brazil, and it's left a lot of people scratching their heads. A group of men were hanging out by the river, just enjoying a hot day, when one of them decided to film the scenery. Everything seemed normal until the camera tilted up toward the sky, and that's when it got strange. At first glance, you'd probably just assume it was a tiny puff of cloud, but when the camera zoomed in, it became clear that this wasn't just a cloud. The object had shape and something else. It appeared to be two distinct white objects connected by what looked like a thin string-like thread. The whole thing was just hovering there motionless. It didn't behave like a balloon, a drone, or even a kite, and its symmetry and stillness were too perfect to ignore. Many online have speculated it might be some kind of experimental weather equipment or even a surveillance drone in disguise. But then there are others who went straight to the UFO explanation, saying it fits the profile of unidentified aerial phenomenon that have been reported before. They were small, white, and strangely tethered objects just floating high up in the sky with no visible means of propulsion. So what do you think? Is it a top-secret tech, something mundane, or something from way out there? Let's take a look at this chilling security footage. A group of kids was outside playing like any normal day. You can see them running around, laughing, and just having fun, but then something happens that makes all of them scatter in fear. Right at the center of it is a little girl. She's holding onto a metal pole, just standing there. And when one of the boys casually reaches out to touch her, he suddenly jerks back and falls to the ground. In an instant, all the kids start running away, rushing inside to get help. Now take a closer look. The little girl isn't moving, she's just holding onto that pole. That's when a man walks by and notices what's happening. He immediately takes off his shirt and uses it to grab the girl and pull her away from the pole without touching it directly. It turns out the little girl was being electrocuted. The pole looks like it might be part of a metal streetlight or an electrical sign, and clearly something went wrong. There must have been a serious electrical fault somewhere in the system, because that pole was carrying enough current to trap a child in place. She could not let go because her muscles were locked from the shock. Thankfully, that man noticed in time. His quick thinking might have saved her life, and possibly that of other kids as well. A man in Tennessee was out one evening when he spotted something strange up in the sky. It was this bluish glow pulsating across the clouds. Initially, he thought it was the start of a storm, but as he kept watching, he noticed something unusual. This was not a typical storm. The glow seemed to outline the shape of a saucer, blinking in and out of visibility, almost as if it were phasing in and out. The edges of this craft would pulse with light, then disappear momentarily, only to reappear seconds later. Could this be an aircraft with advanced cloaking technology, or possibly even a UFO? It's hard to say for sure, but the footage is mesmerizing and leaves a lot of room for imagination. What do you think?
Back in 1990, footage was captured in England showing a series of strange-looking crafts circling a specific area in the sky. The crafts moved in a synchronized pattern, forming a sort of arc over the land below. The observer reported seeing them hover in a particular formation, making a circular or arc-like motion that seemed purposeful and coordinated. This unusual sighting has led some to wonder about the nature of these crafts and their intent. Could they have been mapping the land, or were they attempting some kind of formation for an unknown purpose? Take a look at this. What do you see? At first, it looks like a regular cloud, and then the longer you look, the more you realize there's something more. On one side of the cloud, there's this odd ring-shaped formation, almost like a perfect circle embedded in the fluff. As the footage continues, that ring doesn't just stay there, it morphs into an even more defined structure, almost like something inside the cloud is trying to reveal itself. Some viewers were quick to jump to the idea of alien activity, suggesting this could be a cloaked craft, partially exposed or glitching through its disguise. Others believe it's just a rare but natural meteorological phenomenon. We've seen cloud anomalies before, like lenticular clouds, hole punch clouds, and more, but this one, it had an eeriness to it, like it wasn't just drifting across the sky. What could it be? I know what you're thinking, but, well, I'd love to hear it regardless. Siberia is popular for a lot of things, but one thing that's got people talking recently is the strange ancient discoveries coming out of the Siberian permafrost. Some researchers uncovered what they claim to be the incredibly well-preserved remains of a woolly rhinoceros said to be around 12,000 years old. This led to buzz about biological engineering, with many speculating that scientists might try to bring it back to life, much like they're trying with mammoths, but not everyone is convinced. One sharp-eyed commenter suggested that the creature might not be a woolly rhino at all, but instead a large prehistoric boar, and when you look at some of the footage, you can kind of see why the features could be mistaken for either, depending on your angle and assumption. So what is it really? Well, that's hard to say, but you gotta wonder. Are we looking at a rare Ice Age survivor finally resurfacing, or just another case of mistaken ancient identity? Speaking of glitching and unusual floating objects, take a look at this one. Tell me you see the strange thing in the sky. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but if you pay attention to the audio coming from the clip, you can hear people screaming, with the police puzzled and trying to make out what it is they're dealing with. Once the clip made it to our paranormal platforms, the majority of those who saw it believed we're dealing with some sort of UFO or extraterrestrial life form. Looking at it, there's not much to dispute this fact, unless, of course, the footage was doctored, but who would do that? Anyway, Aaron, our in-house expert on all things paranormal and extraterrestrial, thinks this is real. I don't need to tell you guys what Julius thinks, but you can tell me what you think in the comments section. This woman is Deborah Kubel, and she's well known in the community for having experienced multiple paranormal and extraterrestrial encounters. According to her, these experiences have been happening for years. She shared one encounter where she suddenly heard someone whisper directly into her ear. The voice was extremely close. At first, she assumed it was a neighbor or someone nearby, so she took off her headphones and looked around, but there was no one there. It told her that she was in a different universe, a different dimension. According to the entity, when it looks at her, she doesn't appear as a physical human body. Instead, she looks like a floating ball of light. And when she perceived it, it also appeared as a ball of light to her. She explained that, according to this being, humans from different places and dimensions appear as light orbs.
Throughout history, people have reported seeing glowing orbs, balls of light, and unexplained aerial phenomena. Many believe these are UFOs, so could these lights actually be conscious beings instead of machines? Deborah is considered credible by many in the community, and others have come forward saying they've experienced similar things. Voices, whispers, presences that feel intelligent and intentional.
All of a sudden, I hear somebody come up behind me and say, "Hey, Deb." And I pull my earbud out, turn around thinking I'm going to see a neighbor and have a conversation with them. So I took my earbud out, turned around, and there was no one there. And I said, "Hello," because I thought maybe somebody had like dipped behind a bush or something and was pranking me. And as soon as I said hello, he just started talking. And it was like he was talking right in my ear. And he said, "Did you know that where I'm from, you look like a little ball of white light bouncing around in the dark?" He said, "You're nice and you're nice and bright, and I see you." He says, and he said, "But that's the only way that I can see you from here. And then when you see me from where you're at, I'm just a little ball of white light bouncing around in the dark."
So how'd you feel about this, huh? Anyway, with that, we end today's episode. Thank you for staying with us. And with that, we end today's episode. Thank you for staying with us. Before you go, are there clips or videos you think we should have featured by now that we haven't? Well, the good news is you can share them with us and we'll post them crediting you. Please send any such footage, including ones you recorded yourself, to us via classifiedcaptures@gmail.com. We'll do our thing and include it in our next episode. We can't wait to receive what you have. I've been Steve. This has been Classified Captures. Now do me a favor. Share this with everyone that you possibly can. Let's make the start of 2026 a good one. I'll see you in the next one.